mean, it has been the hot topic on my resume. I mean, no doubt. I mean, of course, the internships, they look good and they've shown that I've expanded on what I've learned and gained some new skills. But these experiences with the micro internships through Parker Dewey and the connections I've grown outside of Parker Dewey and continued projects, that informs these potential employers that, hey, Zach, he can be a self-starter. He can really do some self-learning if need be. If we put him on a project, undoubtedly, he'll be able to work through it. As we can now see, he's finished, 5, 10, 15 projects on his own through whether it be Parker Dewey or, like I said, on my own. And for instance, let's say with my internship with YRC, that was my capstone internship, I can definitely, undoubtedly tell you that when I went in for that initial interview with Rosie, half of our interview was talking about those projects, the skills I had gained, and what I had learned, and kind of how I had worked through them. And it's really important, I know on my resume, I've tried my best to explain the projects as well as I can while still leaving enough information wanting.
Sure.
So, for instance, with YRC, through that interview, Rosie asked me, hey, look, back in spring of 2019, looks like you did this industry research project for a venture capital company. Can you kind of tell me how you worked through that? What was your thought process? What did you want to turn in at the end of that project? And it makes for a very interesting interview and a very unique interview because I left enough information for them to ask enough questions that it really made me feel like, okay, I have valuable experience and valuable information to share with them, that truly at the end of that interview, that's what got me the internship.
Mm-hmm.
And more so now, I can say, one, my Parker Dewey experience completely informed my career choice. Back when I went to KU, funny enough, I started as a music major. And, I'd played piano for almost 16 years now. I can kind of play violin. I can kind of play trumpet. I was percussion captain back in high school. I did symphony orchestra. I thought music was it. For whatever reason, back when I started at KU a few weeks in, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try something different. I did a total 180, chose finance because I was good with numbers, and later added analytics because it was a new thing at KU. Moving through the years, I thought, hey, investment banking sounds kind of cool. I can tell you now, I am extremely happy I did not go with investment banking. It's an industry that I don't think I'm built for. That being said, working through these Parker Dewey projects, I knew consulting was it. I wanted to do consulting. I knew I couldn't do it under my own name. That would be a hurdle I couldn't jump. But I knew I could be a consultant with a firm. And as I started looking at these companies, I felt confident enough to apply because I was like, hey, look, I've done all these projects through Parker Dewey. I've done all these projects through the connections I've built. In some small way, I've done consulting. And applying to those projects, I stressed that and I stressed that and I stressed that. And when I got called in for interviews, whether it was my interview with Ernst & Young, my interview with RSM US LLP, I did an interview with a company called Newry Corporation over in Ohio, and a few more, any of these interviews I got called in for, that was the talking point. I mean, if my interview with YRC was, 50% of it was talking about my experience and the other 50% was about my finance academic background, these interviews with these consulting firms was 100%, hey, what are these projects you've done? And it was really, really, really awesome. And this experience is truly what landed me now the job that I'm going into after graduation with RSM, working as a business intelligence consulting associate.